And a good spiritual morning to you once again. I'm Father Cosmas. Thanks for joining me today for a quick chat and, of course, our morning cup of coffee. And for today, since yesterday was Memorial Day and this coming Saturday, the Saturday of the Souls, I thought we'd talk a little bit about memorial prayers, but from a different angle, because I know we've talked about memorial prayers before. But I want to talk not about the benefit of memorial prayers for the person that has passed away, but more about what we need to do who are still here, still part of the church militant, not the church triumphant. What we need to do in association with memorial prayers. Because what we see happening is this sort of interesting trend as of the last, I would say, 5 or 10 years, where people are wanting the memorial prayers for their loved ones, but not really doing much about it, right? This happens whether it's, the tradition that the priest goes to cemeteries on Memorial Day, or that we're going to pray for those who have reposed on the Saturday of the Souls. People email lists of names, people mail in lists of names, they give them to a friend, they drop them off, and they sort of say, yeah, well, someone will be there, someone will handle it, someone will take care of it. And we don't do very much about it. Whereas the reality is, if something's important to you, it necessitates action, right? If it's important, you'll do something. If it's not that important, then you probably won't be bothered to do anything about it. And so the more we do, the more we're showing God, hey, this is important to me. He wants to see our faith. He doesn't need our faith. He doesn't need anything from us. But if we want the prayers to be answered, we have to show, well, they are contingent upon our faith. Well, where do we see that in the Bible? I don't know, everywhere, all over the Bible. Think about most of the healings that Christ performs. He says, be it done to you according to your faith. So it's the same thing. If we really believe in the prayers, then we're going to do something about it. And that's the difficulty. We have to understand that the prayers are important because we want our loved ones to find rest and to find peace. We want their soul to find rest. And we sort of just tell ourselves, well, yeah, they're at peace. They're with God. They're in heaven. They're with God. They're fine. And so we do that. Why? Well, because we don't want to be scared and think about death and judgment and worse, right? So we just say to ourselves, everything's fine, everyone's okay. And God willing, they're finding rest, and they have found rest and have found peace. Does that mean that they couldn't be at more rest or find more peace? I feel like I have a certain sense of peace in my life. Could I have more peace? You better believe it. And I'm somewhat restful. Could I be more rested? Absolutely. So there are degrees of rest and peace. And that's why we're praying for our loved ones. And so if those prayers are important, we're going to do something about it. And lately, we're slacking off a little bit. People are emailing me lists of names, mailing to the church lists of names and saying, here, just Father, you go to the cemetery. I'm sure someone will be there. You go to the church. I'm sure someone else will be there. And please pray for the people that I love. I'm going to sleep in. I've got other stuff I've got to do. Now, if you can't make it, of course, I'm not talking to you. If you can't physically come because you are unable, you have other responsibilities, and you just can't, of course, God gets that. But if you can make the decision to do something and you're not, that's letting God know just how much you care, just where your level of faith is or is not. And so it's essentially important for us to show we believe, to show that this has value. And we show that by showing up. That's the first thing. If you want the priest to go to the cemetery and say prayers for your loved ones, at least have the decency to show up if you can, and pray together with the priest. You're offering the prayers too. If you want prayers to be done at church on a Saturday of the Souls, show up and say the prayers. Bring the offering of the Koliva to symbolize the resurrection, and also, as a last reminder, and I'll finish with this, to remind us that we're supposed to be performing works of mercy in the names of those people. The Koliva is a remnant of the fact that we used to feed the poor, and we would ask for prayers for our loved ones who have departed. Think about the powers of those prayers for someone who's actually starving to be fed and say, please do me a favor, pray for this person. You better believe they're going to pray for that person. And how strong is that prayer if their life depends on it? Are we doing that? Perform works of mercy. Give to the poor and do it in the name of someone who has passed on. Give to the church and do it in the name of someone who has passed on so that they can receive the blessings of those prayers, so that we are essentially showing up and doing something to show God, hey, this is important. I believe in it. Please give them rest. And that God willing, they'll find rest. Their souls will find peace, and they'll find it each and every day. Amen.